Hi, welcome to the Lakota Artspace studio conversation. Today we are featuring Alex Fire Thunder. Alex Fire Thunder is from the Pajutahawka district here in Kyle, South Dakota, and he has a different style of art. What Alex likes to do is sing and play the guitar, but what he does different is he likes to use the Lakota language. Alex, tell us a little bit more about your art and let's get into detail about how your family is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm Alex Fire Thunder. I do play music on the guitar as well as on the drum. And I've kind of, I grew up with both a love for both types of music, traditional Lakota music on the drum, powwow music, Sundance, ceremonies, prayer songs, the typical Lakota music that we are all familiar with. But I also grew up with a love for wačhípi music too. And as a teenager, I picked up the guitar and I got really into punk rock. As a kid, I listened to what my parents listened to, which was a lot of like, I don't know, like folk music. Or my dad was really into like Bob Dylan and stuff like that. And my grandpa was into his generation of folk music, which was like Woody Guthrie and kind of like cowboy type folk music. But for me as a teenager, I was into punk rock. It was kind of louder, electric guitar, and my brother got a drum set for Christmas, and we started a punk rock band. And so I had a love for for singing and drumming and dancing, powwows, and then I had a love for punk rock music. And I never really tried to. I never, I was never really interested in blending them together. I always kept it separate. I did my thing at powwows, and then I'd do my thing at home. We'd have band practice, or we'd go on tour and play shows, and I just kept everything really separate. For what kept it for what it was. And then at some point, in my early 20s, I kind of gave up the whole punk rock thing, and I even put my guitar down, quit writing songs on the guitar, and I just put that whole side of my life, I don't know, to give it a break, I guess. And I was just done with it. And I focused on, I wanted to go back to college. I moved back home to the res, focused on learning my language. So I wanted to know what all the songs were about. I grew up with the drum and singing songs, but I didn't know what they meant. And so I developed a passion for learning our Lakota language. And I don't know, after a few years of doing that, I was making powwow songs now. Instead of writing songs on the guitar in English, I was composing songs for powwow and um, in Lakota. And then at some point, well, I was kind of just joking around with some friends that I sing with at powwow, my drum group, drum brothers. And we were just teasing around. I had my guitar out and I started singing one of our powwow songs on the guitar in Lakota. And it started off as a joke, but then I actually wrote some verses in Lakota and just made it into a real song, and everybody really liked it. And so it just kind of, it sparked something. Like I was like, hey, that's something that we can do to modernize the language, like keep the language relevant to today's world, today's life. Like we all have listened to powwow songs. Only powwow people really listen to powwow music. And so what about all the people that don't go to powwows or don't go to sundances? They're still Lakota too, so they have a right to like listen to music in a language as well. And so I was like, and plus even us powwow people sometimes like to listen to other type of music too. And so I was like, what if there's a whole album of music on the guitar in Lakota? And so that's where it all started. But and I can't take credit, like I'm not the first person to think of this. Like we've all heard like Bill Center on the radio, playing guitar, like country gospel stuff. And then but we all know Buddy Redbow, grew up listening to Buddy Redbow, Floyd Red Crow Westerman. So that, I'm not the first person to do this, but probably one of the few. There's a handful of others I know that are doing it with hip hop music now too. But I think it's good that our generation has to step it up and start doing these types of things, because all those people I mentioned are all older, or none of them are even here anymore. So um you're muted, Charlie.
You'll have to give me a list of those artists so I can reach out to them.
Yeah, off the top of my head I'm thinking of, yeah, I can't even remember his name. There's a a Dakota one. It's in the D dialect. He wrote a whole album of rap songs. His name is Arthur Lockwood, and he goes by, I think he goes by Kute on iTunes. Kute. So it's pretty cool. It's different, hip hop music all in Dakota. And then I've heard a couple other ones I can't think off the top of my head. There's a guy from Wounded Knee. I can't remember his name, but he did a couple hip hop songs and all in Lakota. And then there's one from Rosebud too that did it. So I'll have to find them too and send you the links. But
So when you're playing your guitar, what is the reaction you get from your son?
oh, that's a good question. So my son he's only 17 months. He's about to be a year and a half, and so he's seen my guitar since he was a little guy, and then especially since he was born like a month before the pandemic really hit and started in South Dakota. And so like after he was born, I was pretty much home, like up until now, like we've just been home. And so he's pretty familiar with the guitar. So if I get my guitar out, he comes over to me and he starts strumming on the strings. And if I play, he'll bob his head and start dancing. And then same with the drum. He loves the drum too. So he has his own hand drum and drumstick that he got for his first birthday, and he already hits the drum. And then and he even starts singing a little bit. He goes wayo 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 wayo. It's just cute. So I think his name is Odoa. So Odoa is like in Lakota would be Oloa, so song. And we named him in the D dialect because his mom is Dakota from Siston, which is where I'm at actually right now. So I think music is going to be important to him. At least that's what we were thinking when we named him,
Yeah. Well, I admire you and your family. Those are the values that I wish for all of us to have in our own homes. I know my sons, for their birthday, I made sure they got drums and drumsticks and outfits. We didn't actually get to break them in because you're right, the pandemic happened and we all had to stay home. But we would play powwow at home. My singing on the drum isn't as good as yours, I bet. But but no, we watch your videos and we watch some YouTube videos. And
Awesome. Yeah, I'd put YouTube videos of powwows and stuff all throughout the pandemic. We were always putting those on and just exposing him to that too, like you said. And that way when we can gather again and have powwows again, or people are now, but that they're familiar with it and know what it is, or at least they have something to reference. They've seen it before. And it worked too, because he knows what it is. As soon as we put it on YouTube, he starts dancing, gets excited, gets fired up. He even has a little Akisha.
which is cute.
So we brought him to his first powwow in Siston, but we didn't stay for very long.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, he hasn't really been to powwows. He's been to a couple ceremonies and stuff, but
I was really looking forward to Oglala Nation.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe we'll still get to attend it. Maybe though.
Yeah, they're talking about postponing it, right?
Yeah. So far, it's just postponed.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
You do events or anything, or how do you promote yourself as an artist?
Well, I tried to be really humble about this whole project. So like when I was a teenager in punk rock bands, I was all about putting my band name out there. Like I wanted us to be, respected and well known, and we went on tour. So when we'd go on tour, we booked our own tours. And so I'd always be reaching out to people. Back then we used MySpace. I'd always be reaching out to people that booked shows or promoters on MySpace, asking them to book our band or have us play in their venue and all these things, just lots of self-promotion. And when I decided to pursue, record an album in Lakota, I kind of didn't want to go about it that same way that I did before. It was I didn't want to push myself on people or beg for this or beg for that. It's just this is something I'm doing for my love of the language and my love of music, and to put my, just to put my songs out, share my songs with people. And if people like it, they like it. If they hear if they want to share it with their friends, they can share it with their friends. if somebody wants me to come perform, they'll ask me and I'll come perform. I'm not going to go around asking. And so that was kind of like the mentality I took, and that's pretty much what I've been going with so far. Like I did make a website for, it's not for me, it's just for language stuff, called hoyeya.com. And I'm trying to get other people involved who want to do language work too, and not just about music, just anything. Like want to publish a book in Lakota, whether it's an elder or a learner like us, you know, anybody that wants to do anything in Lakota. It's trying to create a platform and have funding. So if people are, you know, wanting to create more content in Lakota, whether it's music, art, literature, recordings, you know, grandma or grandpa telling a story. I started a podcast with different elders. So I don't know, I've just kind of been going about it that way, just not really trying to self-promote too much and just wait for people to come around. And luckily I have a lot of really cool friends like you who do cool things with art or with schools. And people have asked me to come talk to their, you know, students or do a performance. And I've gotten, you know, a few gigs here and there. And it's been just right because I'm really busy too with other stuff. So, and then I think the main thing that got me a lot of promotion was I won a Native American Music Award, and that was something too. I felt really hesitant, like I wasn't gonna put in for that, and then somebody offered to do my application. I'll just go ahead and give her a shout out. And Karen Eagle, she was like, we'll fundraise you the money. It's $100 application fee, and I was like, no, you don't need to do that. And but I took her, that was encouragement enough for me to go ahead, and I was like, I don't want you to do that. So I'll pay it. Like it wasn't, I didn't have $100. I just didn't want to like pursue that for myself. And
Very modest and humble.
but because she said that, you know, I went ahead and did it. And here I got nominated for 3 awards, and then I ended up winning 1. And luckily we went. We were like talking about not even going to the award show dinner thing. But my wife was like, no, let's go, we have to go, it'll be fun. And that was, I don't know, that was quite a trip. But it was in Niagara Falls, and my dad lives in upstate New York, so it was a few hour drive for him, but we got to see him. And I'm glad we went. It was really fun. And here I ended up winning one of the awards, so that was pretty exciting. And I think that was kind of the thing that got me the most attention, I think, for my stuff, which was funny because it was like a year later after the CD came out.
Going.
What's that?
Was that the motivation you needed to keep going? Like that sparked your love for it too, to keep going and just wanting more?
That happened, and then the pandemic happened shortly, a few months later. So I don't know. But I did, in the beginning of the pandemic, I did compose some new songs that a lot of people still haven't heard. So there should be another album coming at some point. I just don't know when.
Are you willing to give us a sneak peek?
Yeah, I think I might mess up, but I didn't rehearse any songs, but I got one I could do. It's a cover.
Okay.
I think some people have seen it. It's on YouTube, but it's still new.
We need you're hearing it first live with Charlie Cooney. Okay. I won't put you on the spot too much.
Yeah, I should have practiced one of my newer songs I could have showed, but this one's a cover. I figured this song out in the beginning of the pandemic. I was really listening to John Denver, and I really like that song Country Roads. And so I was like, oh, this song should be we should make this about Lakota country. And so I wasn't even thinking about language yet. I was just thinking about, like, you know, inserting different things about our, you know, our part of the world, our country, our land, our culture. And so I was like trying to think of what kind of things we could put in there. And then that one thought led to another, and I was like, it should just be in Lakota. I should just sing it all in Lakota. And I was like, the first thing was like, how do I say country roads in Lakota? And we have we have words for like a dirt road, or we have a word for like an old beat up road, but some of this didn't sound right or didn't feel right. I was like, oh, that's stupid. That doesn't sound good. And then I was like, well, just forget the whole idea of country road. Let's just say Chanku Luta, the red road. And I was like, that's more culturally like something we all recognize and all kind of strive for, like to walk the red road, which is just, you know, like you said, about living up to Lakota values and raising, being a good relative to your family and your tioshpai, your extended family, and at large your community. And so that seemed to be the best idea. And so I made it like that. So let's see. I haven't practiced it in a while, so we'll see how it goes. But so this is Country Roads, or in Lakota, Chanku Luta, originally composed by John Denver Hoash Lakolia Blue Ieska, translated to Lakota. Makoche Washtem, South Dakota, Waziaha, Oglala Oyanke, Mitakolaki, Chanchehaki, Ohomnia, Loa Yankapi, Chankuluta, Tiada, Hechia. Amaglayo, South Dakota, Kesapata, Amaglayo, Chankuluta, Wokik Suyem, OW Hayuka, Dakota Wiawa, Iotawala, Oblayeda, Ampetu, Chamashtena, Ha happy cha we chakbi ota chankuluta tiata hechia amaglayo sakboda kesapata amaglayo chankuluta Chana chaje maya deas lila teha omawanim ikachola ogna kiliana hopta wakim chankuluta tiada hechia amaglayo South Dakota, Kesapata, Maglayo, Chankuluta. So that was quite a project to translate all of that and figure out what I wanted to say, make it fit. But you probably recognize a lot of the words in there, talking about like the Black Hills, and talked about my friends are probably sitting around the drum singing, and just like try to describe things that you would miss if you left Lakota country,
You're really good.
Okay.
Like this guy over here, like he kept looking at me like I was trying to dance, and he doesn't like it when I try to be a cool mom. Embarrassing him.
All right, engine him out.
So what is the process that it takes you to actually get a finished song?
For me, it just depends on the song. Sometimes I start with words first and then come up with a tune or a melody, then figure out how to put it on the guitar. Like the first song that I ever did in Lakota on the guitar, like I told you, was a powwow song first. So it already had words, it already had its own melody and tune. And then I was just joking around. I put it to guitar, like to a few chords. And then I just had to come up with verses. That was the chorus. And then I had to come up with verses and like figure out what the song was going to be about besides what it already said. And that was, the powwow song goes like this. It's like, it says, no matter, I've traveled all over the world, but no matter what, I always return back home, because I love the Lakota country, or I love Lakota land. And so the powwow song is just like it's like a typical intertribal song. Makasitamniya omawaniash lako mako cheki te wahila cha hiya Dako meni ohinia waglik lo haereo. And so I composed that long time ago, like I mean not that long ago, what, like 2015 or so, maybe yeah, 2015 or 2016. I was driving from Rapid to class in Oglala or in Pine Ridge. And so I was going through that way, like Red Shirt, Oglala. And I think I was like driving past the Badlands, and I was actually on my way to Lakota language class with Charlie White Buffalo. And so I came up with that tune and the words in my head as I was driving to class through the Badlands. And then when I got to class, I checked the words with Charlie, and does this make sense? Is this, at the time I was like really, really hesitant of a language learner. I wasn't very confident. And he said, yeah, everything sounds good. So he kind of helped me with that. And then, so that was just the powwow song, and I taught it to my bros, and we used to jam it every powwow we set up at, we'd sing that song. And then I put it to guitar. And so then it became the chorus. It was the melody changed a little bit. It was like, I'm kind of off. Lakoma kocheki tewachi lacha dakomeni ohinia waglik delo dakomeni waglik delo. So that started off as a joke, that part right there. and then it took off from there. So then I was like, okay, if it's gonna be a real song, it needs verses. So that's the chorus, that's the catchy part. And so I just made some verses, and my friend Corey Yellowboy kind of helped me with some of the verses, and he was the one to really encourage me, like, do this for real, like you need to do this, you're good, you're talented. He said you need to record yourself and put yourself out there. And so it was a lot of encouragement from other people that finally gave me the nerve to do it. And then so that song that's how that came about. Other songs, like obviously the Country Road song was already a song, so I just had to translate that, but that was quite a process too, like of how to translate. And sometimes I'll come up with like a cool I don't know, guitar line, and then I'll be like, that needs some words to it, and so I'll try to come up with words. But I don't know, every song kind of has a life of its own and its own way of coming about, and I can't force it. I've tried to force it. I'll try to be like, I need to sit down and make a song. And if you try to do that, it just doesn't work. You have to wait for it to come to you. At least that's for me. That's how I am. I can't force it.
Have you ever like wrote a song and then forgot immediately like the rhythm or the beat that you just came up with?
With powwow songs all the time. Especially if there's no words to it. Like I just like almost every day I sing like straight songs that I've never that I just make up or freestyle, I guess. And I'm like, that's a cool song. And if I don't record it, I'll forget it. If it's a straight song and there's no words. But I've never done that on guitar. On the guitar, it's like, I don't know, it's different. Like if you come up with something, I pretty much always remember it. But all the time with powwow, with straight songs, like I'll come up with a straight song and then just it's gone.
Yeah. Like that's like with me in storytelling. Like sometimes I feel like I know exactly what I want to say or how I'm going to say it. And then I'll say it perfect one time and then I'm retelling that story and I can never get it right. And it never sounds as good as it did the first time. So when you're singing or when you're doing your art and your projects, what is the message that you're hoping for? Like what is the imprint that you're leaving behind or you hope to leave behind, and the impact that you want people to feel?
The number one thing, like the reason why I started making songs on the guitar again was just to promote the language and keep the language relevant. So for me, that's number one. Is just like, it's about the language, Lakota language. We're gonna sing in it. We're gonna talk as much as we can in it. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna teach it. We're gonna normalize it as best we can and keep it. It's not gonna die. We're not gonna let it die. And so that's number one. Then number two, you know, other things that come along with that. And this is my philosophy, and whether it's my songs or even in teaching, you know, I'm a language teacher. And so when I create a lesson, I always ask myself, what am I teaching? What's the lesson, or what's the teachings that are attached to this besides just language learning? And so same with my songs. It's got to be uplifting. It's got to make people feel good. It's got to be relatable. But it's got to be in line with our values. It's got to be like, I don't know, it can't be so, I don't know, I'll go back to this teaching of the word wakan, the power to hurt people, or the power to help people, the power to give life, or to the power to take life. And that comes from Albert Whitehat Sr. And I apply that to the language too. The language and almost everything we do is wakan. And you have the power to make it help people, or the power to make it hurt people. And with language, we know that even in English, like we teach our kids, you know, if you go to any classroom, almost every teacher tells their kids that words can hurt people, you know, your words affect other people. And even there's even studies done about how words impact like water crystals and stuff. Like you can take a glass of water and say mean things, negative things to it, and it turns brown, or the water crystals turn ugly colors. And you say beautiful things, like, you know, all positive things, I love you, you're beautiful, all that stuff, to a glass of water too, and it'll be beautiful still. And and then we're made up of water too, like we're like 90% water. And so I always think about those things with language, because that's exactly, you know, your words. How are you going to use this language? What are you using it for? What are you going to do with it? And so I always think about that when I make a song. It's got to be about something positive. And if it's about something negative, it's not to spread negativity. It's to relate to those who are going through negative things, and let them know that they're not alone, or let them know that it'll get better or something. There's got to be some kind of positive message behind it. So those are the things. And so far, most of my songs are about the land. Most of them are about just living in Lakota country and what it's like, and just describing those things. And for me, it's, I guess, you know, I especially don't take it for granted, because I didn't grow up in South Dakota. I grew up coming to South Dakota in the summers, but I grew up in upstate New York, which has its own beauty too. It's totally different, but just it's something different to live in the land that your ancestors come from, you know. And I think a lot of people forget that. And so my music is to kind of help remind them of that too, if they understand the language. And I have some close relatives too that do speak Lakota, that they like make it a ritual where whenever they come home from traveling, they put that song on, which makes me feel good to know that they do that. But they said it always makes them feel good, like it just like matches their mood when they return back, like when they drive into Rapid and see the hills, or they come back to the res through the Badlands, or whichever route they're taking. That they always put my song on, and that makes me feel good.
I was going to say, when I used to live out of state, my favorite thing to do was turn on Keely. The minute I would catch Keely on the radio, I'm like, I'm home.
That's funny, because that's what there's a part, the end of the Country Road song. That's what I said. I said, I've traveled really far away, and now I'm coming home, and I turn on and I'm listening to Keely radio. That's what it says.
And I'm still learning the language. I haven't taken a class since maybe the last 4 years. I used to take a class with Marcel. And so that's something that I'm interested in too. Just like as far as like how you make it fun to learn the language, and if you can like you know how babies sing the ABCs, and that's their way of remembering it, because it comes with harmony and it comes with that rhythm.
Yeah, music can really enhance the language classroom for sure. I'm still coming up with creative ways to how to incorporate music in language learning and teaching. And like, I don't have all the answers, and I'm sure there's a million things that I could do that I don't do, but it's definitely, you know, a good resource. Like even if I'm not using the music to teach, like my students know that I make music and they have access to it. And I've seen they get excited too. They always want me to play, like, bring your guitar tomorrow, and bring your chankahoton. That's the word for guitar in Lakota. Chankahoton. Chankahoton. And
Break
yeah,
it down. Why is it named that?
so chan is wood, and then gahoton is to cause something to make a sound, or like, and you could break it down even further than that, like gahoton. So ho is the voice, and then ton means to like be born or to exist. So hoton is to call out, like animals do that. Hoton. And then so ga is to cause something to happen. So ga hoton, you're causing this wood to call out, to make sounds, I guess.
And you mentioned you're going to be having another album. Maybe you already told me, but when did you say you were hoping to get that out there?
It probably won't be till next year at this point. I was thinking that maybe I'd start recording this year, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. We're expecting another baby coming in November, and so my wife and I got our hands full with just all kinds of stuff, and but it's exciting, yeah, really exciting. We love our baby now, and we already love our new baby coming. So so probably next year, hopefully next year, fingers crossed. And what I want to do is the last album was all home recorded. So I recorded it all in my living room. And that's pretty much impossible now with a baby, as you know. So that's out of the question. So I would need a real studio, I think, which is gonna cost money. But yeah, you guys have a studio there, right?
I'm actually in our recording studio right now, just so I could have the quieter space with us, because we're hosting an event today in the Oglala building. And so one day here soon, hopefully, we will have all of the sounds tools that you would need to create your album, as well as record the language.
That would be so cool. So yeah, hopefully we can build that bridge and make that happen when the time comes, because yeah, I definitely can't do a home recording again like I did before. And then the other thing that I want to be different on the next album is I would like other artists to collaborate more, and I actually would really like for some of these songs on the guitar to be backed by a full band, like a country kind of band. And I need someone to do some like twang slide guitar in the back, and like I want it to be like all out on the next one.
I can play the spoons.
Or the triangle. Ding.
Or the harmonica.
Oh, there you go. That'd be good. Harmonica would be cool. So yeah, hopefully that'll happen next year, and it'll be like how I envision it. That's what I'd really like. I also been talking with like Kevin Locke. You might know him from up
I
north.
do know him. I used to perform with him in the day.
He wants me to compose some We Oish de Oloa, which are like the old time love songs. And he wants me to compose those, and then he's gonna put them on the flute. And he wants to collaborate like that. So I think that would be really cool. And I have a couple songs like that I composed. So I think that would be really cool.
Well, this has been such a great visit. Like I said before, thank you for agreeing to participate with us. I know you're on the road being a family man and you have a lot on your plate, but I can't thank you enough for agreeing to do this conversation with me. I know how busy parenting life can be. I wish you luck in the future when you continue your art career. But don't forget, we will have the production studio running. And we're here to serve our artists in the community. So I'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Awesome. You have to when I get back and once the tourists kind of clear out, you have to give me a tour of the building myself. Because I've seen, I drive past it. I live right next door and drive past it all the time, but I've never been able to go in there yet. So
Yeah, whenever you have free time, just give me a call because I recently moved back too. So I just live right around the corner from you as well.
Okay.
And so I can meet you over here at the building, even if it's on the weekends. Bring the family in and I'll give you guys a tour.
Awesome. That'd be really cool. And then maybe the boys could play too.
They could be a part of your band.
We could do a little language lesson with the boys. That'd be fun.
For sure. That's something I regret. I wish I would put the Lakota language into our daily lifestyle. And I do with the most simplest of things, but that's my fault. And I don't want them to not have it because I'm not teaching them.
Mm. Well, it's never too late,
Hmm.
It's always, and just start with little things each day, add something.
Yeah.
But we
Thank
can
you.
talk about that and I can help you, and I'll be teaching Lakota language one at Pile this fall too.
Okay.
First time ever at OLC. So that's kind of exciting for me.
That is exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and I will wrap this conversation up. Thank you again for helping out and participating in this. For those of you that didn't get the opportunity to see this recording live, we will be posting it to our YouTube page and sharing it on Facebook. Thank you again, Alex Fire Thunder. I wish you all the best and I will see you around.
Awesome. Yes, I look forward to seeing you, and thank you again for asking me and giving me the time and space to perform and visit. Kilama alo.
And you travel safe. Okay, don't hang up just yet. I'm gonna pause this.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna stop recording.